Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Brian Pickle, and welcome back to Pickleton for another episode of our beginner Let's Play series. So as you can see, we're starting things off a little bit differently this time with a time lapse while we get that highway that I've been talking about for the last couple episodes finally connected to the rest of our highway network. Now we will be able to have people going through and to and from the city in any direction that they want to, and they won't just be ending in roads to nowhere. So, adding in some much needed connectivity to this area, and hopefully that will allow us to work with this highway in this episode and the next couple episodes probably, as we set up our downtown. So while you enjoy that time lapse, I just want to get into a little bit of a discussion about what we're going to be doing today. So I will be upfront with you all that we are getting wildly experimental from this point on. I've said before, I'm not an expert in the game, and you will certainly see what I mean getting into today's episode. So our city of Pickleton is about 14,000 people, and that's kind of the most that I've ever really gotten in Cities Skylines 2 so far. My focus has naturally been on the series and building Pickleton, so I haven't played around extensively off camera in any other cities. So this is uncharted territory for me. We're getting into some new stuff for me as well. And I think that'll be a lot of fun to sort of see what works and doesn't work together. I think that could be a lot of fun. So today's episode is mostly going to be, well, really entirely going to be about setting up a road network for our downtown. So with Cities Skylines 2, I've kind of noticed that there's essentially two major ways that you can go about building a downtown. The first one is to do it sort of how I would have done it in Cities Skylines 1. I build the city, and then getting to the downtown is sort of one of the later stages that I get to. Now, Cities Skylines 1 worked that way because by the time you unlocked a lot of the things that you would want to put in a downtown, it was pretty far into the game, requiring population numbers of 30 to 50,000, depending on what exactly it is that you wanted. Some of the sports arenas required really high population numbers before you could place them, the kinds of things that you would want in a downtown. So naturally, that ended up being kind of the last step for a major city in Cities Skylines 1. And that's sort of the way that I've been playing Cities Skylines 2, which I will admit is probably not the best way to do it for this game. And I need to get myself out of the mindset that this is Cities Skylines 1, because it definitely is not. It is an entirely different game. So for the North American side, we're gonna keep on going and keep doing what we're doing and build our downtown in the Cities Skylines 1 kind of method. But I would like to, in the future, revisit our starting tile area, our very first little neighborhood, and try the Cities Skylines 2 method of building a downtown. And that is to rezone lower density into progressively higher density until you get those towering skyscrapers. Luckily for me, when I set up the city, I knew that I wanted to do one side European and one side North American. So I think that it'll be a lot of fun to sort of explore those two avenues and see the pros and cons of each and how they both kind of work. So zoning up and redeveloping areas, or starting sort of from scratch and building, just setting up a downtown, setting up those skyscrapers right from the start. So hopefully that seems interesting to you. I'm definitely intrigued to see exactly how differently these two areas are going to develop and how different these two downtowns will feel. But for today, we are going to be focusing just on our North American side and building up this downtown sort of from scratch. Now, when you build a downtown this way, it's really important to make sure that you have a functioning road network before you start zoning and plopping in buildings. And that's because you're going to have, all of these high-density buildings, lots of shops, unique buildings, tourist attractions, parks, all of that stuff. You're going to have so much of that being built all at one time that your networks are going to get flooded with people coming in and out into your city. And without a road network set up beforehand to accommodate all of that traffic, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. So that is going to be our main focus for today. Setting up a road network that will be able to handle the amount of traffic and people that are going to be coming into this area in the next couple episodes. So we probably won't get into much zoning and plopping of buildings today, but road network prep cannot be ignored. It is very, very, very important, and so we'll get into that today. And I'll show you how to set up a road network and make sure that you are prepared for the influx of people coming into your city. Enjoy the rest of the time lapse, and I'll see you when it's finished. All right, so here we are on our little peninsula here. You may have noticed that I ripped out again our rail network. And that's because I had that embankment and we couldn't get any roads coming from this area into our downtown. And that was just an oversight on my part. So I think we're probably going to keep it as just an elevated rail, not an embanked one. But I'll throw that in kind of at the end once we figure out the rest of the network here. So, as I mentioned, building a network is very, very important to make sure that your area can handle the amount of traffic that will be coming in. So, there are a couple different ways to go about that. And we're going to bring in a couple new methods of transportation to get people in and around this area. And those two things are going to be our subways and our ships. So, we're going to have some boats bringing people into the city and subways taking people around the city. But we can't just go plopping in subway depots and and ship terminals. So we need to prepare this area a little bit for both of those things. So what we're going to do is, first of all, we're going to get into our terrain tools and we're going to level out kind of this entire area because we need all of this space to be pretty flat for what we're going to do today. So I'm going to grab this height here, right click on this height and drag it out and flatten this area. So I'll go ahead and do that really fast. Okay, so there is that. Now, what I would like to do is figure out where we want to put our ship terminal. So if we go into transportation and water, we have the harbor and a cargo harbor. Obviously, right now, we are not going to get into cargo at the moment. We're going to be focusing on passenger ships. So that is going to go in this area. But what I would like to do is sort of flatten this area out first and sort of get this area set up for this terminal. Okay, so bear with me. I tested a lot of this stuff off camera and it worked really well. So I'm really hoping to be able to recreate it almost exactly. It's definitely not going to be exactly the same, but I would like to get it as close to the same as possible. So because it worked and it looked really nice. So fingers crossed here, people. So what I want to do is start with some of our 4-lane divided roads to sort of set up the frame that will of arterial roads that will come along this area, and that will serve as a key wall. But for now, I just want to get the roads set up. So coming into here, I want to find sort of the middle of this, but the snapping doesn't want me to do that. So what I'm going to do is turn off snap to zoning cell length and snap to zone grid. Turn those two off, and then this gives me a lot more flexibility. So I want to kind of eyeball what looks to be the middle. And if you see the outline of that blue circle, it seems to be, if I put it up right about here, I have one white square of space in between the road and that blue circle. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, I think maybe I'll throw a couple arrows in on screen so that you can see exactly what it is that I'm talking about, but to eyeball the middle area. So we're going to drag that out at our 90-degree angle here, and then we'll do the same thing on this side. There we are. So we have that, and these are just holding roads so that I can know where the middle is. Then what I want to do is drag out from this point on either side a distance of 120 meters. Let's do that over here. I might need to extend this a little bit further. We'll see. Wants to snap to something. These guidelines are clicking onto something here. 120. There we go. So I think I will extend this just a little bit. Get rid of whatever this is as well. So I can use a smaller brush now, though. Okay, so flatten this out a little bit more on this side. Give us a little bit more breathing room. And I'll explain why I have all this extra land here in a minute as well. But for now, I'm just gonna make room, and everything will, again, there's a method to the madness here. I swear it will all make sense when we get done, okay? I promise it will look much better when we're finished. So now what I want to do is, I think, bringing this out a touch more. And I want a nice flat area for this, because this is where our cargo, not our cargo, I keep saying cargo, our terminal, what do they call it? Our harbor. This is where our harbor is going to go. I want this nice and flat. I can bring it out a little bit further even. I think that should probably do it. Now we can grab our harbor and place it. And of course it's going to tell me that there is a road required, and we will get there, I promise. For now, I want to have it about here. And then we will go ahead and put our road in. So right alongside of it, we're just going to draw a straight road out. Okay, and so then we're going to go ahead and keep this road going along this way to about here. And then I'm going to start bringing it away from the water line and sort of back up to the main road. So we're going to curve it off a little bit this way. And then bring it straight up. Let's get a straight road in. Bring it... Can I get this at 180 degrees, or is it not going to let me? Turn our snappings back on. There we go. 180. Look, a little bit of a bumpiness going on there, but I think it's okay. So I think I'm going to throw a roundabout in here as well, just to facilitate with movement. It might not be necessary, but it's not a bad idea to throw one in anyway. So there's that. And from here, what I want to do is grab our medium roads again, grab our curve tool, our simple curve tool, and we'll just connect it up with a nice little curve. And there we are. And from here, what I would like to do is grab our straight road tool, and I want to come out. So I want this blue circle to, again, sort of hug the shoreline to about here. Then I want to put a little bit of a holding road here so I can get our curves in, and they can be a little bit gentler. I don't want super harsh curves going on around here. And there we go. I think I don't love how that turned out. Let's see. Let's try it again from this side. See if I can make that work a little bit better. It had a little bit of a weird funkiness going on to it. And I think that's better. So we'll go ahead and back that off now. And then this will just kind of continue this way. All the way, oh, well, as far as we can get it for now. So, to there. And since this is so close to this area, I think we might as well just fill this in as well. Oops. Right click here, and there we go. So, now we can start putting in, oh, before I forget, of course, we need to actually hook these up to something. So we're going to need a couple tiles because our shipping lines are somewhere out here. So if I turn on our transportation view, can we see? Oh, you know what? Outside connections. There we go. That's a better view. So we can see our lines are right here. So we'll grab a couple of tiles. At least these two, or these three, I mean. That one just in case we need that space. And then we can draw our lines. So if we go into our transportation, we can go into, let's do a wide seaway. Or is that too big? Oh, that's huge. Okay, no. We could do a medium seaway. And we'll just hook this right into the existing one. Kind of curve it around here, right through all the poop water and into our other line. There we go. And now we can actually even draw our... No passengers are going to be going anywhere because there's nothing to do over here yet. But we can grab our passenger ship line tool. And we can go from here to our outside connection over here. And then bring it back in. And then complete route. So now we have a functioning harbor. Okay, now that at least most of the frame is set up and connected, we need to start building our keys. Now, the reason why I had to do all of this extra terraforming for these is the process is quite difficult. Now, I finally figured out a way that I can do this reliably, and I do not take credit for this method. I found this on a video from Infrastructurist, and it really seemed to work really well when they did it, and I've tested it a couple times myself, and it seems to be the most reliable way to get this done. But there are a couple things that you need to keep in mind if you're going to do this. So right now I have the game, I've had the game playing this whole time, so I'm going to have to pause it to show you exactly what it is that I mean. But it's important that you play the game, and let the game run. So, and I'll explain why. So if I grab our level terrain tool, for example, and I pull out this area while it's paused, we'll see what happens. So I pull out this whole area, and then if I want to drag a road onto it, you see how it's trying to build a bridge? It thinks that there's water there because I haven't played the game. So if I let the game play, it'll let me draw this road out flat. Because now it understands, it has recognized that there is not water there anymore. So that is a really important point to make sure that you're paying attention to. If you play it paused and do the method that I'm about to do, you'll have to basically do it all over again because the game will think that there's been water there the whole time when there hasn't been. So if I do it, say, for example, in here, while the game is paused, it thinks that there's water there. Now, since I actually did this while the game was playing, it's going to function normally. But if you hadn't done it, if you had done it while it was paused, it wouldn't work the same way. The water would kind of create an issue and you might have to do it all over again, which is something that I learned the hard way when I was testing this. I had it played, paused, and the whole thing, and ended up having to redo it. So just let the game play. It won't break anything. You'll be fine. So what we're going to do now is level the water line back up against the road in a very particular way. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click on the height of like the bottom of the water. And then we're going to find the middle point. So you can see in this circle, we're going to find the middle point of the median of the road and line up the outer part of the circle with that median. And then we're going to draw it along and see the water is there, but if I let it go, it goes away. So the water's not actually there. It recognizes that there's no water there, and everything should presumably work out just fine. So we're going to drag this all the way along the road, the entire length. So I'll go ahead and speed through that. Okay, so now what we do is we go back to any part of the road that we want to start at. I'm going to start over here, and I'm actually going to separate this area here first. So delete part of the road. I'm going to do it in segments just because I found that that's the easiest way to do it. You could delete the whole road and do this, just drag it along the whole length of the road, but I've definitely found that it's easier to do it in segments. So we're going to drag little segment by segment at a time and refill that area with our retaining wall. So, and then I'm going to go ahead, we'll do this one next, and this is going to be a little bit more difficult just because part of it is a retaining wall and part of it is not. So we're going to draw it out until our road guidelines meet. They meet? Where'd they go? There we go. And hopefully that'll give us a nice little curve and our wall. Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and do this along the entire way, and then I'll be back with you when that's finished. All right, so now that we have our keys in and looking nice, we just need to finish up the rest of the road network. So normally, realistically, what you would do next is fill the water in so you can get a good look at what this key will look like. We're gonna leave it like that for now. And the reason for that is if you want to hook up roads to this road, it's going to be much easier if you do it while it's still a key. We're getting some weirdness going on here. Not sure what that's about. So let me just, you know what? I think the problem is, oops, now I've got to redo this one. Sorry. I think I know what the problem is there. So let's just go ahead and reconnect that. If I do it again, is it still going to do that? No. But I think what the problem is, to avoid any of that issue, is we're going to flatten out the land back to the edge here. So that way we can avoid any of that issue. I think that was probably what was doing that. It wanted to create a bridge because the land underneath the road is gone. So we're going to fix that really fast. That is something you definitely want to keep in mind. And, you know, again, we'll smooth out the rest of it and, like, get the water back in and make it look all nice when everything is finished. But it will give you lots of different kinds of weirdness if you put the water in first. So it's easier to do it. It's easier to let the water in last. And then draw up any road connections you want while it's still just a retaining wall and not without the water in there. So that's what we're going to do. And to start off, what I want to do is find this road over here, because this is just a natural kind of connection that would make sense to keep it going. So we're going to bring this road out, find the middle point, and find our 90-degree angle here. Let's turn off snap to guidelines. Nope, off guidelines. There we go. So that we keep our 90-degree angle better. So we've hit a little bit of a problem with our highway. So what we're going to do is just knock these guys out of the way and bring our road through. That is generally just the best solution to this problem, is just fix the little segments and they'll readjust themselves. So we'll turn on our parallel mode and connect these back up and continue on with our little four-way road here. 4-lane road, not four-way. And bring it at a 180-degree angle right into here. And I think it might be fun to put in a little bit of a roundabout here as well. Honestly, just because. It probably doesn't really need to be one, but I kind of like it, so we're going to go with it. And then I want to do the same thing and bring this road back to hook up with this arterial. So we're going to knock out these pillars here again. Oops. Knocked out part of my road, too. That's okay. And we're gonna, oop, not a roundabout. Medium roads. So many buttons. Okay, so we're just gonna drag it hopefully all the way through and it won't give me any problems. There we go. Very nice. And then we'll bring on our highway again. So let's grab our curve tool, maybe? Is that what I need? Can we turn off the stepping? No, that's even worse. Okay. Okay, that looks much better. And so we have our bridge going through, our road going through, sorry. And that is all connected. So now it makes a nice loop. The next thing that we want to bring in for our public transit. Oh, sorry, I keep losing my cursor in the snow, so I don't know where it is. And I keep pulling it off to the side of the screen. We got a fire over there. Oh, something burned down. Completely. What is it? The car burned down. Didn't even know that could happen exactly. Okay. The fire station people, they'll figure it out. So what we want to do next is bring in our subways. So, while I enjoy the added realism of having a subway yard, it is a little bit of a wrench in my plans because I just want to place them down. So, we're going to do something very, very unrealistic, and I'm just going to throw this here for a moment. And then I'm going to set up our subways. So, I know for sure that I want one to be out front of our harbor here. I keep wanting to call it terminal or cargo. It is a harbor. So we're going to go ahead and place it in this area, but I want it a little bit a ways off of the road. So I think if I put it in here, and then what I want to do is grab some alleyways, and we'll go ahead and draw some connections from the harbor. I remembered the right word for it this time. Into our subway station. There we go. And I think I actually want to move this a little bit so that it's more centered where I want it. And it should fit right about there. Very nice. So that's one station. I want another one to go through our university. So I think about right here is going to do nice. So what I need to do is just knock out this pathway here and put our subway station there instead. Then I think another one would do very, very nicely over in this area. So we're going to go in here. Take a look at that. Ooh, get rid of that view. There we go. Very nice. Okay. So I think that is... Do I want this closer this way? Or is that too close to that one? You know what? I think I'm just going to leave it where it is for now. It's not really going to be being used simply because there's nobody here yet. And then another one I want outside of our train station, but this one actually comes with its own. So if we just go ahead and throw on the upgrade for subway interface, it comes with a subway station. So there we are. And then the last one will go somewhere over in this area. But I think until we figure out the road situation on over here, we're just going to leave it disconnected. But we can connect up the rest of them really fast with our double subway track. So we're definitely going to want to loop this. And so we're going to have like one area, one section going, one train going this way around and one going back, and a nice little loop. So we're going to go underneath the ground and we're going to hook up our lines. So I think the complex curve is going to be very useful here. So we'll drag out a little ways, 180 degrees, and then we'll drag in until we meet up with our guideline. That's the word I was looking for. So our guideline for our other station here. So about here. And then curve it in perfectly. And then we obviously want these two to go together, so I think we can probably do a nice... Let's go ahead and straight out from here a little ways at 180 degrees. And then we can do a simple curve and should get a nice curve going on between these two. Just like that. Now, ideally, this might actually like connect another place in here at some point, but for now it doesn't. So we're just going to go straight out from our train station one. Keep our 180-degree angles on. Oops. Actually, that's fine. And then I think curve it about to here. Simple curve still. And curve it into there. And then again, once we figure out where this last stop somewhere over here will be, then we'll sort of connect the rest of it and get a line going in. But for now, I think we're going to keep it like that for the time being. And I guess now is a good time to figure out where those other roads are going to go. So let's start with the roads that we have, and let's start dragging them out places kind of where they are naturally already going. So we're going to continue this little road on this way, and we're just going to connect it right up into this guy. And we'll do the same with this one. Okay, so I wanted this to be a little bit different than it was. It wasn't quite straight. So I want this to keep on. So we'll do what I was saying. We'll just keep dragging this one straight on out like this. And then this one should meet up at some point with this one. Very nicely. There we go. So I'm okay with some weird angles and funky designs going on in here. I think that'll add a lot of realism to this area, and I am all about it. So another thing that I want is another major road kind of going through the middle of this entire area, kind of like from one side to the other, basically. So I'm thinking from here, if we take our 6-lane divided road and drag it kind of just straight across a little bit. And I think that'll be pretty nice as another sort of arterial road going through here. And we'll have, you know, a lot less connections off of this road. And now that we have sort of another looping situation going on here, one last method of transit that I would like to bring in here is some more of our trams. We'll probably do buses at some point too, but definitely trams. So what I'd like to do is grab our double tram track, and we're going to bring it through here and upgrade this area and go all the way through. You know what? I think I'd like another little roundabout on this one. Yeah. So keep this going. We'll go down here. I think to about here. And what I want to do now is grab our curve tool with our tram. And I want to bypass this intersection, basically, and have our trams go through here. Just like that. And then we'll just continue it on with our upgrade tool. Straight on down into here. And I think meet it right back up to the existing road. So, and this line we can do since we already know where it's going to go. So let's do, so you know what? Since I've put in that arterial, I think we can probably put our last subway station in over here. So I think if we do one somewhere in this area, I think that'll be perfect. So how about, yeah, how about we just do it? Do we want it right along the main road, or do we want a holding road for it? That is the question, isn't it? I think we'll just put it right on the road. Hopefully this will not cause too many problems. You know, I didn't realize this initially when I was placing these 4-lane roads, but putting the tram tracks on here still gets rid of a lane. I thought, like, with the median that it didn't, but it does. So this basically is just a 2-lane road now, which I don't love, but I'm hoping with enough of the public transit, it won't be an issue. Otherwise, we can always just upgrade things to be 6-lane at a later point in time. So hopefully that won't be the case, because if we do have to upgrade this to a 6-lane road, doing it as the key is going to be a project. But you know what? We'll just work with it for now. So let's go ahead and hook this last one up where it needs to be. So we're going to do our complex curve again on this side, and we'll go out a little ways at 180, bring it in, find our skyline here and bring it in there. There we go. And where is our last one? Oh yeah, over here. Okay, and so there we go. Now I want to go ahead, actually, before we move on to doing a little bit more roads, I want to do our tram stops and our tram line. We'll save the subway for the end because we have to deal with the subway depot. So what I want to do is have, I think, I want to avoid any stops right here, but I'll do one right about here. And then, of course, we want them to be on both sides. And there we go. So we have a tram route coming through here, and likely we are going to run into a problem of, yeah, not enough vehicles. So we're also going to need to add another tram depot. So we'll save that as well. But for now, we are all set. We are ready to go with getting like a grid set up a little bit here. We don't want to go too crazy. I want to leave some space for buildings, but we can always adjust the grid as needed once we figure out what buildings we want to put in here. And by buildings, I mean like unique buildings or service buildings and things like that. Which, by the way, if there's certain service buildings and things you want to see in our downtown or that you think would go really well there, please let me know. I was like, oh no, what happened to my retaining wall? But it's because I got rid of the land there. Yeah. So that's good. Still there. Beautiful. Okay, so let's go ahead and get a nice grid set up. So this is coming in at an angle, which is fine. What I want to do over here is find about 120 meters. So we'll go down here, and then I want to do 120 out, and then 120 over as well. We're gonna of course need to move our subway station immediately, but that's okay. So let's grab this and just budge it down a little bit. Is it gonna let me do that nicely? It will. That's nice. It's great. Is it still connected? No. Okay. So grab this again and just boop, there we go. No worries. All sorted. Didn't I not do 120 meters? Oops. Okay, so let's try that again. From here, 120 meters out. 120 meters out this way. 120 over this way. And then in. 120. Okay, there we are. So we have a nice big grid to work with. And I'm going to go ahead and grid up basically this entire area. Okay, so I think that'll do for sort of the grid network for now. And I've left some more open spaces. One, because the grid was just not going to work in those spaces with the angles. And also because we're going to need some space for some of those service assets or unique buildings or whatever it is that we want to put in there. So if you have suggestions for what exactly you would like to see, like I'm thinking like maybe a hospital, probably something along those lines. But if you have like a specific thing that you want to see, leave it in the comments below and we'll see what we could do. Um, Otherwise, the last thing that we need to do is fill in this water and set up our depot. So I think we'll do the depot first, and I'm going to grab our 2-lane road here, and I think this makes sense to be where the point where we come out from. So I want to go 90 degrees, and then I'm just going to budge this guy along a little bit. Throw that over here for now. And we got rid of all of our little trees, but that's okay. Let's see. How's the area here? Let's smooth this out a little bit more as well. So grab our softened terrain, turn our brush strength all the way up, and increase the area a little bit. Just to make the slope a little bit nicer. It doesn't have to be perfect. This area is going to be, getting away from the downtown and kind of getting back into smaller density, lower density, more probably medium at least, but not high density. So it doesn't need to be perfectly flat. So we'll go ahead and we'll grab our 2-lane road. Make sure that's the one I want. Yeah. And go out a considerable distance because we're going to need a lot of space to get this guy in and make sure that the lines can go under the ground. So go ahead and move that over here and we'll go right here. Then I think what we can do is go into our transportation, grab our double track, and we'll go back above land again. And so, oops, I need to go up one more. Now we're above ground. So we'll bring this out to about here. And hopefully we can get this underneath just fine. That is definitely not going to work. Why don't we put it on the other side? Let's see. I don't know that this will be its permanent home, but for now, this is definitely what we're going to do with it. Just so that I can get these subways up and running. So we'll come back above land again, and we'll drag this out. Let's see, from here, and here we are. Oh, oops, I'm not on my straight tool. So there we go. So we have enough room to get it underground and also get it away from the station so that we can hook up these other lines into it, which I don't actually think is necessary. I think it's more just like an aesthetic thing, but we're going to do it, so. And now these all are connected. So I think that should make them functional. It doesn't matter that this side isn't connected because that doesn't go anywhere right now. So I think we should be ready to go. We won't worry about any upgrades at the moment, but we can go into our line tool, and then I think we should be able to just easily do this. So let's see. Start one here, and we'll go over to our terminal here, our harbor. It's not a terminal. Let's go into the university, into our little office work park over here, back over to our train station, and into here. That looks like it actually worked. Whoa, look at that. Okay, so we got an achievement too. Have 20 active transport lines. So, very cool. And then I'll just do it in the reverse order. There we go. So that is our downtown road network. I think it turned out pretty nice. Oh, no vehicles. That's right. So our trams. So what we need to do, actually, one last thing, is we need to add our tram depot in too. So a new one, because we've run out of trains. So Let's go. I would have loved it to go here, but that does not seem like it's gonna work. You know what? Let me just adjust these really fast. Okay, so that took, much longer than it needed to, but I've got the tram depot in here. I've got trams running now, so we should have plenty of vehicles yep, there we go. That'll sort itself out. And now we can finally let the water in. So let's do it. Go down a brush size a little bit. We'll right-click where the water is and bring it all the way up to here. And we'll just do that all the way along. Okay, so we got the water coming in now. And hopefully that won't cause any issues. No flooding, no weirdness. And everything should look beautiful now. Let's just clean up a little bit of this stuff around here. There we go. We have our nice, beautiful quay walls in now. I think it turned out amazing. Actually, this is the first time I've done these this successfully. So, I'm going to give myself a round of applause for that. You can feel free to give me one as well. And hit the like button if you enjoy using keys in your cities. I can't say that I enjoy them necessarily. The process is quite a pain in the ass. But they do look so nice when they're finished, don't they? Very nice. And in the meantime, we also unlocked a signature building. So we have the fuel plant now, which this was unlocked by having 50 level 5 industrial buildings. So pretty exciting news. This does a lot of good stuff. So it lowers industrial ground pollution, air pollution, and increases industrial efficiency citywide. So we will certainly find a place for this hopefully soon enough. Obviously, it's not going to be in the very near future, but we definitely want to look into where we can put that building. So, all right, so that will do it for today's episode. I know it's a little bit different than our normal kind of thing that we get into in each episode, kind of, devoid of any buildings and zoning, literally just roads and a couple, transportation buildings, but I hope you still enjoyed it. It is really important to get these road networks laid out beforehand so that you can really just jump right in and do what needs to be done with the zoning and the popping of buildings when the time comes, and have things flow, have things sort of flowing already so that people can get into and out of this area easily. So that was the goal for today's episode. I really do hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please feel free to leave a like below to let me know that you enjoyed it, or even subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and you're looking forward to more Cities Skylines 2 content like this, and especially if you're looking forward to seeing how the rest of the downtown comes together. I know I'm very excited for it, and I hope to see you all there. So until next time, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.